we've done Thormun's journal entry 1 through 20, and now tonight we're going to be reading 21. And let's see, it's a huge page, so we'll just start reading through this. And do you guys happen to have this up on your screen? I'm trying to like zoom it in as much as possible if you're looking at it via the stream, so hopefully you can read it. But I guess we'll just alternate paragraph by paragraph. RogueScaper, if you got that first paragraph, if you want to start reading it, go ahead.
Yeah, let me get this pulled up real fast here. It's for some reason taking forever to load this PDF on my side. Let's see if I can see on the screen here. All right. I write here by the glow of candlelight. The halls of Alar stand in eerie silence, devoid of the busy comings and goings of the day. The only sound is that of the walls, moaning and rebelling against Ranaveg's wind. Sleep evades me. I am endlessly plagued by horrific nightmares. The moon has been reborn in the night sky thrice since I last caught more than a few hours of restless slumber. I fear these terrors are anything but ordinary. They have all too familiar a feel for that. Visions! That is what they are, remnants of the wellspring's freak. Though they lack the clarity they once had when the magical waters were so fresh upon my lips, they are nonetheless fearsome.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the stream, so, yeah. I can see it, though, yep. Sure. So full of dark and foreboding symbolism are these visions that their meaning escapes me. I can tell no one about them for fear that others may think I am losing my grip on sanity, and word of my madness will find its way to the ears of Jandar. I cannot be discharged from duty. I will not allow myself to be helplessly unable to do my part in resolving the conflict that I started when I first sipped those intoxicating waters. So I retreat here to the pages of my journal, keeping it near, trusting it to my closest secrets. The waters still call to me, but I must resist, for drinking would have grave consequence. That much of these cryptic visions is clear.
Alright, and I'll go next. In my nightmare, I was a wolf. I felt as a wolf would feel, thought as a wolf would think. My senses stood on end. I could taste and smell even the slightest change in the air. From out of the sky soared a large and noble-looking bird, a mighty eagle, its wingspan 6 feet or more across. The eagle landed beside me, unafraid of my sharp fangs and formidable claws.
With eyes as pools of wisdom and insight, the bird looked over my dark and well-muscled canine form. It tilted its head as if to say, "Come, follow me." And then with a graceful leap and a thrust of its powerful wings, the bird was once again airborne. I ran after it, moving fast, very fast. We came upon a hidden spring and the bird landed at my side. This was no ordinary pool of water. It was a wellspring, one I had never seen before.
The bird nodded. It beckoned me to drink. I moved forward slowly, closing my eyes. I lowered my head and lapped up the cool water. It felt intensely relieving, like taking in air after a long stay underwater. Then suddenly, the water grew warm, and its taste altogether different. When I opened my eyes, I saw that the water had turned a dark red. I turned and looked for the eagle, but instead saw a swaying cobra. Its eyes were as rubies. In them I saw my own reflection. The reflection of a wolf, flashing an evil grin, its maw dripping with the crimson liquid of the tainted wellspring.
Alright, and that is that for the journal entry. And, okay, let's go through this. Let's go back to the beginning here. Okay. So, right now, Thormun. Now, I don't know what Ravenig is. Or Ranvig. Third day of Ranvig. I'm sure.
Is that the name of a glyph
That's a
in the
glyph
game?
that prevents flying from high winds. So maybe it's.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So maybe it's like a very windy time. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I
I love how the last journal entry was like, ew, I saw Olar with a bunch of snakes, and this one's like, let's go into some deep poetic imagery right here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, this is definitely a lot more. How should I say it? A lot more depth. A lot more depth to it. But I mean, Thormun, he's where Uller is, in that faction, that area, and is alone. And through this time, he's also seeing visions as well. So we're getting some insight into the well springs a little bit, how they affect Thormun even after he's like given up. He's gone cold turkey on them.
Now, remind me in the lore, Thormun is like a lieutenant of Jandar's, or a high-ranking Kyrie under Jandar, or I forget his affiliation. I remember him being vaguely a good guy, but a lot of the details I forget.
Right. From what I remember, Thormun actually is more an advisor. He basically keeps record of what's been going on. He's one of the first Kiri that discovered a wellspring and drank from it and felt the effects of it. And then he noticed that other Kiri were finding them as well and getting different powers with them. So he's one of the first ones that saw it. And I mean, he's in a sense, he's been allied with like Yandar and Uller and others. But when it comes to the time of Age of Annihilation, I know this is kind of skipping ahead of things, but he ends up like basically not liking everybody, and ends up becoming his own like faction, which we have not seen anything from how would I put it, like from AOA yet when it comes to Thormun type figures. But I look forward to those future, whatever Renegade does. Hopefully we'll see.
He was the one narrating. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah,
I was going to say, he was the one narrating the trailer that AOA released, right? And
exactly.
Yeah, he sounded a lot more unstable and angry when he was narrating that. And that because I read a little bit of these as a kid on the website, and I remember kind of, oh, he's a noble chronicler kind of figure. That was my impression of him. And then when I saw the trailer again, I was kind of, whoa, like, what happened to this guy? You know, so that was surprising, and I too am excited what they do with that.
Mm-hmm.
I think they hinted at this in this kind of journal entry at the end. You know, if interpreting symbolism is always as a fun thing, but essentially, you know, he's the wolf, but the wolf is staring back at him, kind of, you know, what's it say, like red-eyed or covered in blood or something, some kind of imagery where the wolf isn't necessarily a good creature or a creature that brings peace per se. So I'm so excited about what AOA is planning to do with Thormun. I think he's probably the most compelling character, just because we know so much of his voice and his personality from his journal entries.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I wondered too if was I reading that right? And that the wellspring, when it was tainted, it was, you know, tainted in red. So I wonder if that's, you know, maybe a kid-friendly way of saying this is potentially blood, and like the wellspring in that vision is it's a warning that these wellsprings are going to lead to carnage.
Right. It's a very in-depth. You know, like I said, there's a lot of symbolism here, which I mean could indicate, you know, things to come when it comes to Thormun and the rest of Valhalla. Here, I'm just trying to see anything that I would recognize here.
Like what does the cobra represent? I wonder if maybe Revna is the cobra. Like that's I'm just
that was I mean, because you have, let's see here. You have him being himself a wolf. You have like a bird. You got a lot of animal symbolisms here.
Mm-hmm. Maybe the bird's Aquila, as they kind of have that going.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There's I would love to dissect this on a kind of there's just a lot going on here at a poetry level. It feels very almost like kind of like almost like biblical prophecy type of kind of writing format type of style.
Right. Yeah, it's very, very literary. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one thing I hope Renegade continues is going through the lore of this, and I'm sure that the further journal entries that we'll read, some of this might be explained when it comes to this, but I mean, more or less to say, and let's see here, I'll give Jeremy another minute or two. Let's see. Hold on a second. Okay, he might still.
So the previous journal entry, I hadn't read it, or at least I hadn't in many years. Was that less symbolic, or was that using less symbolic language? The journal entry 20.
1 through 20 usually was describing like events, not too much visions, but events and characters, and Thormun interacting with different characters and going on like different journeys and such.
Were these all written by the same writer? These journal entries back when they did them? Was it all one person writing these?
That I do not 100% know or remember.
Because that'd be interesting if they had multiple writers. I don't know if they did, but if they had multiple writers and one was very poetic and used symbolic language and the other one was just very matter of fact, like these are the battle plans, blah blah blah. It's been a long time since I read these. It
could be the case. I do know that when it came to like the animated stories, the trailers that we saw visually through like Hasbro and such. So Justin says no. Okay. And hello, Justin, there in the chat. No to what? Please explain, sir. But I know that any of the visual content that was made was written up by different people. That's why sometimes you see little inconsistencies in those as compared to like the written lore.
This one reads a lot like more like Zetacron's bio, where it's kind of very like the symbol builds up on itself, and it's kind of still a mystery. It doesn't like resolve, and it's kind of cool. And compared to these guys have shields and they're in the Roman army.
Okay.
Yeah, it's funny you bring up Zetacron. He was one of the few articles I like really read through bio wise, and it was pretty impressive writing. Like it was kind of tragic, and we don't know what happened to Zetacron, but we presume he's okay. He's fighting in the battles, he's a unit in the game. But yeah, I remember really liking that. Yeah.
And Justin's saying in the chat that Jeremy said in a previous episode, and this is how much I need to pay attention to my own stuff. But thank you, Justin, for listening. That they kept changing the writers, so writers were changed. Yeah.
So maybe a change of writer here. That might be what's
possibly
going on.
And I mean, it sets a little bit of a darker tone. For this.
Last one was Olar had a bunch of snakes and they were repellent. It's essentially kind of what it did.
Yeah, it was a little bit later.
So he gets very poetic when he has visions.
Yeah.
But then outside of that, he's very pragmatic and utilitarian.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, anything else that we want to glean from this before we move on? I think it's pretty plain. I'll have to ask Jeremy like next time he's on, like what does it mean at the beginning, inscribed by Thormun on this third day of Randvig, because I'm sure he could give a good detailed explanation for that. But we can do that next time we do or read a Thormun journal. So I'd say if we got nothing else to say with that, that has been looking and reading through Travels and Travails, Journal Entry 21 of Thormun's Journal.